So you need a pen test, but how do you know the one that you're going to get is actually high quality? Welcome to Netsec Explain, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the 5 things that you should look for in a quality pen test. Starting with number 1, they use a formal methodology. Now, it doesn't specifically need to be NIST or the Penetration Testing Execution Standard, but they do need to be able to at least speak to their approach. This gives you, your customers, and your auditors the confidence that they're doing the right checks in the first place. Think of it like a house inspection or a termite inspection. You need to know what they're going to look for, where they're going to look, and how they're going to find it. Whoever you decide to go with, they need to be able to speak to their approach in enough detail that you can tell they've done this before. Okay, here are some things to look out for. If they say that they follow the OWASP top 10 and don't go into any more detail than that, that's a red flag you should run. The OWASP Top 10 is a fantastic resource for the top 10 most common vulnerabilities. It started with web applications and branched out into mobile and even AI. But that's just the baseline, and what you need is somebody who can go beyond the baseline in your environment. And this also goes true for cloud and network assessments as well. The other thing you should look out for is if they say that the methodology depends on the tester. Normally, you'll see this in what are called crowdsource vendors, people who have a global network of penetration testers. But the problem is you're going to get sometimes people who are really good or not so good. But what we're looking for is quality. So the next time that you're looking for somebody to do a pen test, make sure that you ask about their methodology. Number 2, the scope is clearly defined. Now, I'm not just talking about rules of engagement, but what I am talking about is a good pen test company can walk you through and help you identify what you need to test and understand your business context and security needs. The difference between a good assessment and a bad assessment is business context. I've been on a number of assessments, some where we'll have a junior pen tester identify RCE or remote code execution in an environment, and it turns out it was a sandbox server designed to run code securely. On the other side, I've also seen low-risk findings that were reported on a report, but the business considered them critical based on the information that they handled. It all depends, and ideally your team will have that conversation ahead of time. So work with them to suss out those details and make sure that they understand your business needs. Number 3, you get a debrief, not just a PDF. Listen, security is a process, not a destination. And 9 times out of 10, when you're just given a PDF report, it winds up in a junk drawer and they're just gonna find the same things next year. But what we want is change. A good pen test will bring you into the conversation. They'll talk about what they found, how they found it, and if there's any deeper patterns that you should be aware of. For your needs, there's 2 audiences you need to keep in mind. The first is the technical team. They wanna know how. How do you replicate the finding and how do you mitigate it? The second team is going to be the leadership team, and they want to know what. What did you find and what does that mean for your business? If you just need the PDF, that's totally fine. But if you want to change behavior, you do this by bringing people into the conversation and discussing what your security posture is and what that means for the business. So be sure to ask upfront if there's a debrief or at least a report readout included. Number 4, risks are clearly explained. Now, risk ratings are notoriously difficult and often subjective. So instead of just a single CVSS score, the pen test needs to be able to explain to your technical team why the finding is bad in the context of your business. This should be in their language so they can quickly replicate the issue and understand how an attacker would abuse this exploit. I've had several developers understand what I did, but not understand how an attacker would realistically abuse this in the wild. It wasn't until I was able to show them impact that it clicked. The challenge is that us as security people, we know what an attacker will do, but your engineering team might not. And so, again, this is why we need to bring them into the conversation, explain the risks clearly, and why the findings have the severity that they do. Actually, it's pretty funny. I had an assessment where I showed them that I could just change a 1 to a 2, and I got access to somebody else's info. And the development team said, oh yeah, we know about that and it's really not that big of a deal. And I said, well, I used that to download about 300,000 of your user records and 600,000 of your sales IDs. So I think it's a pretty big deal. And it was after that we hopped on an emergency call with their leadership team. And I still remember the question that they asked me, what do we do about that? I gave them that oh shit moment that says, you need to pay attention to this now, and here's how to fix it. So personally, what I always try to put in my reports is, what did we find? What did it let us do? And why is it bad? On every single finding. Simple and effective. Number 5 sounds a little counterintuitive, but it's important. They can explain what's not in the report. Now, earlier we talked about that they should be able to explain their approach and their methodology, what they're going to look for ahead of time. But this is the point where you get to see what they did find and what they didn't find. Think of it like a low finding report, where there's not a lot of issues that have been identified. You still want to know if your security controls were effective. What stopped them from being able to exploit your system? Was it because the attack surface was too small, or are you doing things properly in order to prevent exploits? It really helps to call out what you're doing well and what you should continue. And it also helps if there's anything that's inaccessible or out of scope, because that information can change the results of the report. Look, penetration tests are time-boxed. That means that a tester only has a certain amount of time with your environment to identify and exploit things. So you deserve to know what was prioritized and what might not have gotten the same level of coverage. This separates testers who are running through a checklist and those who genuinely understand your environment. Usually people think that a penetration test is a metric of pass and fail, but there's a lot more that you can get out of that. A good pen tester will dig into your environment, understand your security posture, and be able to have that conversation with you so you can know what you're doing well and what you can use some work on. So those are the 5 things that you should look for. If you're asking these questions before you sign anything, you'll find out pretty quickly if you're dealing with a real penetration test or a glorified security scan. If you like this video, then you'll probably like my other video on threat modeling the easy way next. I'll see you there.